Well, Australia, we're known across the world as the country with the dry and dusty plains. And despite the once-in-a-generation flooding along the east coast, the northern Murray-Darling Basin is being run dry. Now debate is turning to how we better manage our water supply. You hear me say it often, we don't have a water problem, we have a water catchment problem in this country. And if we can get it right, how we best utilise our country's groundwater resources more efficiently. For more on this, I'm joined from Canberra by the Minister for Water, Resources in Northern Australia, Mr Keith Pitt. Minister, thank you for your time. Salvatore Barbones from the Centre for Independent Studies, the newspaper today, makes the point that we have so little data on Australia's groundwater. What systems do we have in place at the moment to collect data on groundwater?
Oh, Peter, great to be with you. It's predominantly looked after by the states, and a lot of them do take manual readings on what's known as test points for groundwater right across a number of areas. It is complex in terms of the aquifers and how they connect and where inflow comes from. So there is some data, but I wouldn't say that it's collected in a modern way.
You can see the frustration people would be having at home listening to all of this, because so much of the issues about building dams comes down to opposition from Green-dominated local councils or state governments standing in the way of dam infrastructure. And then we've got this data, missing data on groundwater, again being the responsibility of the states.
Oh, that's exactly right. I mean, we've got so many people who are in a really difficult position right now with flooding and damage to their homes and risk to them and their children and families. And my heart goes out to them. I went through the 2013 floods and a number of others up in Bundaberg in my home electorate. I know exactly what they're going through. So I want them all to stay safe. But we need to continue to look forward. If we want to build resilience, if we want to get agriculture to $100 billion, well, you need more water. And if we look at my own patch, we've got a state government that's knocked the wall down at Paradise Dam, took out 35% capacity. We have other states that simply won't build any more infrastructure, and they continue to look to take water from farmers and from irrigators and from communities. I just don't think that's the right approach.
Yeah, I'll get to Paradise Dam in a moment. I remember being up there in 2013 when Bundaberg was all but underwater. And of course, when the water subsides, the devastation left to predominantly in your area, weatherboard homes. I mean, it was pretty horrific. It takes communities a long time to get back from a flood episode. Look, we've got all this rain and we've seen it coming down. This is not something new in Australia. We have all of this rain, not enough catchment. Our catchments in most areas along the basin are less than a third full. How on earth, Keith Pitt, can we improve the situation here?
Well, there's been some inflow increases in the northern basin in the current events, about 10%. Will take a long time for the rest to come downriver and into other areas like Menindee. But if we're serious about this, and the Commonwealth is, we've got $3.5 billion on the table for dams and water infrastructure. Well, we need to extend our irrigation systems out to those dry land farms that already exist. We need to get new and larger facilities so we can provide resilience into the future. And to do that, we need the states to get on board or get out of the way.
Well, they do a lot with their renewable infrastructure pretty quickly, these ministers in the environmental portfolio. What's the opposition to dam building in Australia?
Oh, well, they always find a reason, Peter. Whether it's a frog or a bird, or there's always some reason to stop dams. We know they've got a lot of activists out there who don't support it. I mean, this proposition we can return to a time where the country wasn't developed, that just won't work. So we need to continue to support our farmers and our communities, particularly in the bush. We don't want our cities to run out of water. We need to look at every level of efficiency that we possibly can. There's just been a review on what's known as the National Water Initiative. We're currently looking at that in terms of the recommendations and what more we can do. But I got to say, Peter, there's an opportunity for you. I know you were up in Bundaberg in the last flood for the clean-up, and should come back up, mate. Come and have a look. You're very popular up our way. Come and see Paradise and what they've done to us.
Well, tell me about that, because this is a dam built under a Labor government and built to the point now that it's not fit for purpose. And we understand your staff have told me that the capacity has almost been halved. What's the latest? Well,
in my view, this is the biggest infrastructure failure in Australia's history. It was built for just under $300 million approximately. It filled up around 2007, 2008. It's had some significant work done on it since then. The state government decided it was unsafe, even though they had advice from international experts that could be repaired in situ. They've knocked the wall down by a number of metres, which has reduced the capacity. I've now got growers with a forecast allocation of just 5% in what has been a 90% plus reliability dam to date. It's a disgraceful situation to be in. Now, I'll give you a personal invitation, Peter. Come up to our region, or we can put you in front of some of those growers.
I'll come. Look. You don't have to ask me twice, because I remember how much it was a food bowl focus up there. I mean, that's originally why a lot of that horticultural investment came to Bundaberg, because there was secure water supply. That puts those businesses at threat, sure, in that capital investment, but jobs too, I assume, Keith Pitt.
Oh, that's exactly right. There's currently a class action being put together by the growers that they've got a direct impact. If you're a tree cropper, your tree takes roughly 7 years to reach maturity or somewhere where you break even, and now you have your own state government making sure that effectively your trees will potentially die if they can't get enough water to them. It's just a terrible position for them to be in. It was unnecessary in my view. The state should get out of the way. Let's fix it, get on with it. I mean, they haven't even put a proposition to the Commonwealth in terms of looking for funding or repairs.
Hey, look, just before we go, Warragamba Dam, a lot of talk there in New South Wales inside the government. Competing camps actually about increasing the dam wall. Should it happen, do you support it?
Oh, of course. I always support having a more reliable infrastructure when it comes to water and what it can do into the future. In terms of mitigation, though, it is challenging to get that right, get the management right. I mean, it's like a shoebox, Peter, that you pour sand in until it's full. It depends on how fast the sand runs in and how much you've got, and it's all about time downstream, basically.
All right, we'll stay across all of that. Keith Pitt, Federal Water Minister, thank you for your time.
Great to be with you.
As I promised, we'll be heading up to Bundaberg, take a good look at that Paradise Dam debacle.